Hey guys, it's Chris at Highline Guitars. You're watching another one of my YouTube guitar building videos. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope that by the end of this video, I'll have earned the honor and privilege of your subscription. Okay, in this video, I'm going to try really hard not to get political, but I think you'll see why that's going to be tough. The subject matter involves a political figure. About a week ago, I saw a video on the Spectra Sound Studios YouTube channel. And in that video, Glenn Fricker defends the efforts of a guitar builder up in Toronto, Canada. His name is Goran, and he owns a guitar building business called Vicious Guitars. And Vicious Guitars specializes in making V-shaped guitars. Every year they put out about 9 guitars. Well, as it turns out, Goran got a cease and desist letter from Gibson Guitars because they felt his guitars looked too much like their Flying V guitar. So what he ended up doing was changing the design in order to try to avoid any legal issues with Gibson. And as Glenn pointed out in his video, there are a lot of companies that are making V-shaped guitars who haven't received cease and desist letters. And as Glenn I think he postulates in the video that the reason for that is probably because the bigger companies can afford to defend themselves, whereas a small shop luthier like Goran at Vicious Guitars doesn't have that luxury. So he has no choice but to change the design. Okay, so flash forward to yesterday, and a friend sent me a link to a website that sells guitars which are endorsed and even autographed by the President-elect Donald Trump. Okay, this is where things could get political, but I'm going to try not to because I don't want to talk about politics. I'm not interested in it. I'm only interested in building guitars. But the reason why I was intrigued by this website was because one of the guitars that they're selling, it's the electric guitar. They actually, I think, sell 2 guitars, an electric guitar and an acoustic guitar. But the electric guitar that they're selling looks an awful lot like a Gibson Les Paul. In fact, it's so close to it that I felt compelled to send an email to Gibson and ask them if they're building these guitars for the president-elect. You know, are they ghost building them? And they responded back and said, no, we have nothing to do with this. We're not affiliated with the company at all. So that, of course, led me to wonder if Gibson intends to send a cease and desist letter to the president-elect and to force them to stop making that electric guitar. I don't know. Remains to be seen. But it almost opens up a whole Pandora's box or can of worms. Because obviously the president-elect and whoever the companies are that he's relying on to build these guitars probably have deep enough pockets to defend themselves against Gibson guitars. But at the same time, they're infringing, potentially, on an American business, which means they could be hurting the sales of an American business. Of course, this is all sort of hypothetical, but that would seem to be the case. And obviously, it's one of the reasons why Gibson is fairly aggressive in sending out cease and desist letters to luthiers they feel are trying to make money off of their designs. And this is a classic example of exactly that. They're selling a guitar that looks just like a Les Paul. I mean, even the headstock is pretty darn close. The body shape is almost exactly the same. So, yeah, it kind of remains to be seen. Is Gibson going to follow through on the strategy that they've been employing? Are they going to send the president-elect a cease and desist letter? I think it's absolutely fascinating. But really what this comes back to as far as you and I as guitar builders is, you know, I firmly believe in the free market system. And I believe that everybody should be able to go out and build pretty much any kind of guitar that they want to. The only time I think it would infringe on another company's sales is if you're trying to make a guitar that is exact copy of what another company is doing. And that includes using their logos and, you know, stuff that's branded, and trying to pass it off as their guitar and selling it for a price that is going to, you know, you're going to profit from, and not the company that actually designs and builds the actual guitar. That's the only time I have an issue with it. But I think if you're building a guitar that is inspired by the shape of either a Fender guitar or a Gibson guitar or Rickenbacker or whoever, as long as you're not trying to pass it off as their product, you should be okay, and the big boys should just leave you alone. You know, and I suppose if you get into, you know, mass production situation where you're making lots of guitars and selling a lot of them and making a lot of money, then there might be an issue where Gibson would be, or Fender would be in the right to try to get you to stop or to change your design so that it doesn't look like theirs and potentially confuse consumers. I don't know. At any rate, I'd be curious to see or to hear from you guys and what you think. And I'm going to post a link down in the description below for that website that I mentioned, as well as the videos that Glenn Fricker produced talking about this subject. It's a dicey subject, and when it involves a political figure like the president-elect, boy, that gets sticky. You know, I'm even a little worried about even talking about this for fear that I'm going to walk outside and there's going to be a little red dot. Okay, that's maybe an exaggeration, but I think some of you understand and can appreciate what I'm saying. At any rate, let me know in the comments section what you think, and if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. You know, visit eguitarplans.com, visit my Highline Guitars merch store, and whatever you purchase there is going to help support the channel so I can keep making these provocative videos. And hey, click the join button down below. Consider becoming a member of the channel. You'll get a lot of exclusive content, and that's something that will help to support my channel and elevate it to a higher level. So at any rate, until the next episode, take care, stay safe, and I hope you'll be back for more of these guitar building videos.